Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 33rd episode of the HSBG podcast. I'm your co-host, Educatedcollins. I'm here with my constant co-host, Shady Bunny. Shady Bunny, how you doing?
Doing very well, Collins. Very excited for this one.
I'm glad you are excited for this one. I am also excited, doubly excited, because we have special guest Ixxdeee here with us today. And before we start, I gotta say, big props to you. Normally with our guests, I give them, a couple of days, maybe a week ahead of schedule to, get ready for this. But here it's like, can you come? And you were like, yeah, let's do it. So that's pretty impressive. Big props on you for joining us today. But glad to have you here as well. Going to be really fun with a lot of the tournament discussion we're going to have today.
Yeah, hello everyone, and thanks for inviting me. And even if it's spontaneous, it's still nice to be here.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely wanted to grab you. I've been wanting to get you for a while. Now I have a perfect reason. He won the tournament. He's so good. So very, very easy to grab you at this point. Well, easy in terms of asking, but some people don't want to be on podcasts and stuff like that. But generally, it's really nice. So. We usually get started with the Battlegrounds weekly overview, just kind of how we feel about this week, this meta. Usually it's a lot more impactful when there's been patch changes, things like that. But generally, a lot of the week has been preparing for the tournament, just practicing for that. But generally, how's your week been?
You can go first, Ixxdeee.
You're asking me?
Yeah. How's the week's been?
The week has been amazing. First, getting invited to the tribals is already super accomplishment, I think, as a streamer, and then winning it is just amazing. So even everything bad that happens cannot be as bad as good winning this was.
It all gets washed away after you get that victory, huh?
Exactly.
That year supply of Doritos really washing away some of the pain.
Yeah, exactly. I still don't really know how the Doritos is gonna arrive at my home or how that works, but I'm gonna be excited to eat them all.
I think they're just gonna ship you 365 bags of Dorito at some point, and you're just gonna be like, wow, I forgot about this. But yes. That's what I've heard, and you're just gonna have a ton of Doritos in every meal or something. I don't know what you're gonna do with them, but
Nice. It's gonna be a healthy lifestyle for me.
yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that's very true, right? Winning a tournament's always a great feeling. So, mine, somewhat close, not the same, but generally, I was pretty happy with my performance and our team's performance generally, so it's pretty good. So
second, right? Second is still the second best.
Yeah, but no one cares about second place. I gotta tell you, as a aficionado at getting second place in tournaments, I gotta tell you, no one really cares. Got so many seconds in these tournaments, so yeah, it is what it is. But I like it generally. I had a good time. It was a very fun tournament. What about you, Shady?
Yeah, same here. It's a great experience. My week was basically just playing on an A, just being all right, I have to be a little bit careful with Gallywix and Hogger, but I think I've got it. Because that's definitely a little bit of a hiccup if you're not used to playing on.
Did you end up playing Gallywix or Hogger at all?
Gallywix, yeah, but I never really took off. We could talk about it later, right? But
yeah, we'll probably talk about it.
Tough, right? But I think I actually played really high tempo comps. I ended up just killing people the whole time because the other stuff didn't feel worth it.
Yeah, I almost got a Hogger comp online right when I threw it, and then we had that Elemental APM game as well.
Yeah,
so
you had good heroes though. It was enjoyable.
Yes, I had the APM in my games, but yeah, generally that's what it is. But we can honestly just get right to the tournament discussion. Yeah, I mean, there's no point in. I was deciding which one I want to do first, but tournament discussion is what matters here, I think. But I just have a couple just questions, right? Starting with our experience of the tournament. right? It's a little bit different for, I guess, each of everyone, right? Like I play in a reasonable amount of tournaments, just generally, just I don't know why, just because I like tournaments. So I always try to go and sometimes get invited, and sometimes there's like small tournaments. So I have a lot of experience with it. So I was excited to play, excited to practice, and it was fun. And always team events, I think, are always interesting, and just like not everything's up to you, right? Like you don't really fully control everything, but you can control the mood, you can control the mindset, you can control people's like focus on what you learn throughout the game, what do you think the meta is going to be, right? So there's a lot of like little things you can do, but overall you're like a small part of like the scores. So I always think it's interesting just to have like good dynamics and stuff like that. So it was nice just like having Shady on the team, like so easy to just like have good dynamic there. So I had a good time, good experience, and it's always fun to play tournaments. Especially this one was particularly like stacked, I think, in general. So that was pretty cool.
For sure. Do you want to give your experience, Ixxdeee, just stuff you really liked or disliked, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, all in all, I think it was a very good tournament. I really liked the duos at the end. I know that you and Collins, you and Shady practiced for like so long.
Yeah.
And it really paid off for you guys because, I mean, second place is, I know you said it's not first, but it's still very good, I think.
I do want to, it's kind of samey, but it's not, because when we do it on one account, right? Like it's very like we put both of our thoughts, both of our efforts into this one account, where this one was like we're kind of both playing, so we can't really put our total effort into both games, right? And I think I saw that happen a lot where like one of ours had a rough game and it was usually Shady, and then like after it became rough, then it's like, okay, now we can actually focus and then do the best we can. But like that initial like couple of turns or where you're trying to figure out what to do, it wasn't as commutative or
it was more like when we had easy turns, and like I remember you playing Janus, for instance, and I just had Eudora. I was like, all right, level dig, or not much to do, and we're like, all right, let's get the chat and do this and do that. So but very different than what we usually do. But still,
what if you faced each other? Did that turn out good? Like, did you?
It did actually.
We had a couple of really, really good games where we faced each other. We had only one time we had a bad one where I think Collins took 9 or something. That's the worst that ever got. But we had one turn where we both tiered to 5 and took 6s.
And took 6s.
Beautiful. That was so good. Like we tied, so we didn't take any damage, and we both took 6s.
It was so strong.
Was really greedy. It was so good.
If you get it at the spike turn, it's just so strong. If you can just face your teammate and not take damage, and just like Jeev is so strong at knowing how strong the boards are and just getting ties or like minimum damage. And I was doing with Jeev, and he was basically telling me what to do every time.
He'd be like, sell your Eliza. I'd be like, whoa, I don't know about that, Jeev.
There was a turn where Lee was playing Nomi elementals, and he just sold 3 elementals of his board and like had 4 units on the board just to not kill H-bomb in the finals in the duo.
I think I saw that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely like teamwork and being able to identify board states is like a untested skill in Battlegrounds, I think. Just like as you're playing, like you don't ever really have to practice that or use that really. It's only in these type of tournaments where you're really like, oh wow, how do I orchestrate a tie here with our board state and the cards that I have in my hand? Like that's really not something you practice with, and there are some people that just like understand that fundamentally, especially like if you're not relying on the the boss buddy to kind of show you the percentages, or after you're just looking at the boards for a while, you kind of be like, oh yeah, this looks like a 50%, this looks like a tie, right? And it's not something you really have to practice, so just being able to do that's pretty cool, especially when you are playing in these tournament settings where it does kind of matter sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I wanted to talk about, how much did you guys enjoy? Did you guys somewhat enjoy? Was there anything that got on your nerves? Some of your teammates? I would love to hear that, by the way. Just like, I didn't like this guy. Anything like that, just your general sentiment of the tournament overall. It's kind of easy here because, you got first place and second placers. So it's like, I loved it.
Great event, honestly. It's really
Best event ever. Every event should exactly be like that.
Very fair point structure. Like really brings the best to the top here.
Oh my god, yeah.
I actually think it was fine. Like there was only like one thing that they told us 1 hour before. They told us screen sharing is not allowed.
Right.
And
right.
we were like, wait, what? The screen sharing is not allowed in the duos? How does that make sense? But then they changed that, so it was fine.
Yeah. I do like how quickly they were able to change stuff and accommodate the players, right? Especially with us. They had a system where in the settings, the first and the second in the lobbies would team for the final rounds. And that was pretty my thing died. Looks like I should be back generally, so yeah.
So do you wanna just cut and paste post production, or do you wanna start over?
No, yeah, I'll cut and paste. No, I'm not redoing this.
Sure.
The hell you talking about?
Think I'm some kind of amateur here? Come on, man.
No, I'm just gonna redo this. No.
All right, just go back to the exact sentence you were saying as we crash, so that we can have a clean transition.
No. So we had some technical issues, but should be fine now. Shouldn't have any more. If I do, well, then that's not on me. I mean, it wasn't on me the first time, but yeah. So you guys were talking about whatever. Just catch me up. What were we? What were we on? What were we doing? What were we talking about?
I think
we were just ranting about Pyro Spawn.
Yeah, just bonding over our hate for the card. Ixxdeee extends that to like all the Pew Pew cards, but I don't know. I'm pretty big on Juggler and Frank, so that's maybe
really.
Honestly, I understand the Frank hate though. Like legitimately, if I didn't abuse Frank as much as I do, I would definitely be on the I hate Frank camp because it's so unfair. It's so unfair and how strong you can just fix your tempo, level to 6, do whatever you want. You have one Frank on your board. Yeah, I'm fine. I don't need to care about my board state anymore. I have a Frank and Acolyte. Really, that's really the the key because
he also always snipes your
best minions,
scaling units, and then your resets, and it's just
your
you hate it.
In the back, just zap that. Like it really dunks on the demon one, right? The Doomsayer, because it's a 2/6.
2/6, yeah.
Like zap dead. That's so nice.
And then it affects you for the rest of the game because you didn't get value that fight, and you took damage, and too much rant.
I agree, honestly.
Get it in there at some point because we're going to be talking about Frank.
We are going to talk about. Oh yeah, we are talking about Frank, aren't we? Yeah, that's very true. So you have more time to rant, actually. Actually, in this
ranting is scheduled.
Nice.
But what do you think about the format? Like going back to the tournament, what do you think about the format? Like the peak rating for the lobbies, right? Like we didn't really do that efficiently. I feel, especially since a lot of people wanted to be together to have teammates in the other round. So that was I thought that one was a little bit weird. But like the settings of having teams, captains, champion redemption bracket. What's your thoughts about the format overall?
I mean, the peak MMR thing with the lobbies you're gonna play, it removed a bit the tactics you can do. Like for example, if you have a player like Lee who's very strong, there was maybe a thought of putting him in lobby 4 so that he can just win all the games, even though that's not really true because all the players were strong. But
that kind of did happen. Legitimately.
Yeah.
Why is Victor in lobby 4? You gotta ask yourself. That kind of did happen.
Just sitting there, hey guys, new player.
If you could play it around a little bit, maybe put Lee in there with him, and then he can steal some points from him.
I mean, to be fair, Artie was also our team 4. I felt that was cheating as well. But yeah, I think that just does happen due to the calibers of some of the teams. Like like the captain format kind of created some like very like stacked teams, where it's just like, yeah, this is a nightmare to fight against, and some other people are like, I just play with whoever I want or something. So it did. I don't think you can really change that, right? That's just part of the game, part of the format, right? Just having strong players in the team makes a ton of sense, right? If you want to win the tournament. So yeah, it's just kind of funny when you're like, well, Victor's our worst player. Let's go. Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. What about the did you like did you like the champion and redemption bracket, like that strategy? So everyone's always playing 10 games. There was no like drop off in terms of like.
I mean, I played in champion bracket, so for me it didn't matter. But
Right.
I don't know, like playing 5 more games in the redemption bracket, I think that would have been a bit much and a bit demotivating to play too. You already lost, and then you have to play 5 more games, which is gonna take, I don't know, 2 to 3 hours or something.
The whole tournament took like 6 or 5, 6
7
hours.
I think.
Yeah.
It went pretty smooth actually for 10
Yeah,
games.
it did. It really did go smooth. I think a lot of the formats, like, we're not changing the lobbies, right? Like, if you had to change the lobbies every time,
Yeah.
that probably adds another like 2 hours. Just like switching 10 lobbies, that would probably add such
also
a.
with all the friend list bug and stuff,
Yeah.
people have to restart the game, and it would take a long time.
That was pretty cool.
I actually like the design of the
Redemption.
bracket, but I just like playing, right?
Okay.
But you didn't play it. What if you played it?
That
Would you
is
still have
true,
liked it?
but I have played before, and I've had that like, shit, man, I got 5th or 6th or whatnot, and you're just like, okay, it's over. I guess I'm done. And I think especially because there was a change in format where you got to do the duo thing, I would have been especially disappointed if we didn't get to experience that. So I think for that reason, it's cool. I do understand that some people, the last thing they want to do after they, quote unquote, lost, because let's be honest, this is by far the most stacked tournament I've seen.
Yeah.
It was insane. Everybody was super good. I mean, you can get last, and you should not feel ashamed about that whatsoever. Insanely stacked tournament. But yeah, I understand that some people, when they've lost, they just like, all right, fuck off, I want to go home, or I just want to go offline, just let me be, I don't want to have to play anymore. But I think there's still a decent amount of people that would just like to, like the bracket says, redeem themselves and just say, okay, let's, we had a bad start, let's play, and let's try to get some better heroes, let's try to get some better luck, let's try to play better. So I think that one is probably the most up to the individual.
Yeah, I'm with Ixxdeee on this, where I'm like, nah, I lost. I'm done. Get me out of here.
I would be more like the person who's gonna be like, nah, I cannot get first. I don't want to play anymore.
I threw the games, I'm just like not feeling it. Like I could see the mental spiral of me not playing well, making me play worse, and just like not be able to recover. Fortunately, like, it's a team game. Shady was here. She was like, oh, it's fine, get over it. I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. Let me just focus on the next game.
Like, the other teams feel the same way. Collins, come on. Now we stop them. Right?
But like, if this wasn't like a team format and I was just by myself and I was like bottom 4 or something, I would be like, man, what am I doing?
You would have, I think in bigger events, you would be able to drop out, right? But of course, when it's an invitational event, that would be very bad form, very bad manners. You'd say, no, of course. No matter how bad it's going.
Yeah, I'd always play it out, as a courtesy, but I would be in pain. That's all I'm saying, I mean, it's just kind of, I guess, our personalities and.
No, I think that's very fair, and I do think that if we were to put it up to a vote, probably the majority vote would be, if I lose, I'd rather not play more. So I think that's a very fair attitude to take.
Yeah, I mean, it probably depends on the day too, right? Like, another day, I'd be like, yeah, sure, but I just know, like, generally, I could see myself not wanting to push through it,
It also depends where you're from. Like, for EU players, it was 2 a.m. or
That's
something.
true. That's another good point.
I don't really have to play at 2 a.m. here.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point as well. Yeah. Yeah, the timing is always rough. Like especially when you have people from all around the world, right? Like you're never gonna have a competition where everyone's like, ah, yeah, this is my this is my time to play. So yeah, that's very true, right? If it goes too long, right, then it also gets rough. But if you're like top 4, you're like, okay, I'll grind it through it, right? But if you're like, I want to sleep instead, then that also.
Top 4 for sure. I think I drank a coffee at 1 a.m. I was like, okay, this is my life now. Coffee, 1 a.m. I have to wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I was like, all right, looks like I'm drinking another coffee. Where you just say, future Shady is gonna regret this, but present Shady is gonna enjoy the caffeine.
I don't really drink coffee, so I never really that situation. I did have a casting rule where I had to wake up at 11 a.m. like 11 p.m. to cast, and I had to like drink coffee for that because I was like down, and it was like a 7-hour cast. That's like my sleep routine at the time. So yeah, it would have been a bit rough. What do you guys think about the competition in this particular tournament? Right, I think we've kind of alluded to it, right? But I think this was like one of the strongest like group of players that I've seen in like an invitation or a tournament. I do think one reason is just due to the captain system where everyone's like inviting their like the players they know are strong, their friends, that stuff, and since it's the you invite 8 players initially, but then they invite the other players. You get a bigger group of strength, right? You get like more dynamic team compositions. Like me and Shady are in the same team, right? That's if you're just inviting random people, that's not necessarily going to be the case, right? And you have like super stacked teams where it's like, hey, this guy's top one in all the regions. Like it's like that's gonna be very hard. But I did think this tournament in particular was like one of the hardest, or like where I felt like I could feel the skill of the players in every match, and every position I felt was like earned. Like, oh, you got 4th, you earned that 4th. You got 5th, you earned that 4th. Where there've been some tournaments where I just like I play and I coast into like a 3rd place, like, and I'm like, did I even do anything here? And it was just like people died. Someone died to the winner, and I just happened to survive. In this one, I really felt like, oh, did you actually get top 2? You really earned that. You really fought that. You had a good board, and everyone, like, all the boards felt like they made sense to me when I was just watching. Like, I felt like, yeah, this makes sense. He's doing this. This makes sense. This power level makes sense. So I really felt like it was very, very cool because it's a stark difference from ladder. Generally, just looking at the plays and the boards and like how people were managing their situations compared to just playing on ladder.
I mean, compared to ladder, like the tournament meta is completely different. You don't. It's so hard to find a window to greet like a triple or something, or just to try and build a new comp. You just take 15 without damage cap, and then next turn you just die. And even if you get strong, everyone knows how to get strong. So you have to get super strong to just have greeted before and lost life because of that.
Yeah. You get punished super hard. Like there's no window of like, oh yeah, you might fight a dead guy. Someone conceded this game, so here's a dead guy for free. There's none of that. It's like, did you power spike at the wrong time? 15. Did you power spike too early? 15. Too late? 15. It's like, okay. Damn, there's no window here. You just have to do it perfectly, or you're gonna take everything. So I thought that was really cool. As just to play out and see like, damn, this is different. Like I really have to make sure.
I don't know, was it you that had like turn 9 hook task, gold drain reborn and stuff like that? That killed me from 15.
Yes, that was me. Sorry.
I was playing Galliwix and I spiked so hard. I had like 30 pirates on my board. I was like, okay, I'm winning this lobby. And then I saw your board 100% leave. I was like, what? How is this impossible?
Sorry about that. Hook test, dude. I wanted to talk about that because a lot of people did a lot of strong things with hook test, right? a lot of people with Hook Toss did win. A lot of people did also get 8th, right? Because, you know, maybe they go for like the big play, and then if they fail, they get the wrong 6-drop or 5-drop, they die. But a lot of people did win with Hook Tusk, and I was fortunately one of them that also got a good Hook Tusk game. And, yeah, did spike pretty hard that game, and I didn't even get to finish my comp before the game was over. Like, I thought that was like, normally I would be able to get my comp online, right? But as soon as like I got like the pieces that mattered, then like everyone else was dying really quickly. Like the game ended super fast because people just died.
So would you prefer to play against the strong players the whole time? Like, if you could make a choice, would you prefer ladder opponents, or would you prefer having this no window, or very, very small window, no freebies?
In
nothing,
tournaments, give me ladder, and ladder give me the.
That's the thing. You don't get to choose like
in
that.
tournaments, give me ladder opponents. In ladder, give me tournament opponents. So I could actually practice well. And then in ladder, and in tournament, it's so easy. You know, like, I would take that for sure.
On ladder, you just learn to greet so much.
So much,
go
yeah.
for the good combs and stuff, and you cannot do that in tournaments. You have to go for tempo and greet at the same time, which is like very hard to do. And Lee is just so good at it. He always knows how to be strong for the fight and to greet for the future.
Shady is also really good at that too, actually. Like, I didn't really get to show it here, but anytime we play together, I can really say that is definitely a skill set of his to understand how to greed while not being greedy. He says this to me too much. And really capitalize on that window that you have. So I definitely do think there are a lot of good players that can really take advantage of that and make it work in tournaments.
But yeah, for tournaments, you for sure want to play weaker players, right? If you want to win.
I do admit.
If you want to have fun, though, it's so much fun to play these lobbies.
Yeah,
they almost never happen, and yeah.
Yeah, I do it like this tournament was really fun. Like, just generally, just to play, it was really fun. Just to be like, damn, I got punished. Like, that doesn't happen. I would
like, if you look at the prize pool, the payouts for 1 or 4th didn't
really matter.
Much, right?
Yeah,
it was actually more for the fun and for the Doritos at the end. Yeah, nice little bonus.
As soon as we got top 4, I was like, "Hey guys, we've already won. Like, the prizing doesn't really matter at that point." Like,
exactly, the prizes, was almost the same there.
I do agree. It was just a fun tournament and really cool. But to answer Shady's question, playing against those stacked lobbies was really fun. Like, just enjoyable. So if we could do that more, if we could like create a tournament structure that invites like these type of players in a more like common format, like where it happens like maybe like weekly or bi-weekly or something like that, would be really cool. Just to have that, like, oh yeah, next week I get to practice with your player. This. I have to look into setting that up myself because I don't know where else that's gonna happen. But yeah, it was really cool. Any thoughts about changes or adjustments for like next time? Any like little things you would change or adjust?
I think all in all, it was pretty good. Maybe 10 games was a bit too much. Like, a lot of people said it was fine though, playing 10 games, but maybe it was because it was so late for me too. But I think 8 games should be fine too.
I do remember, like, by game 9, I was like, oh, I have 2 more. I was thinking that. So,
but you were playing for the win, so it was still exciting.
Yeah. It was good. It was great. But I was like, damn, I'm getting tired. Like, oh, my brain is.
Imagine you were playing for 6th or 7th place instead. That would be bad.
I can't imagine the people that were streaming like 5-10 hours before the tournament. Yeah, I'm just like, how can you do that? Like, how can you be in the right like mental state? Because I know I would not even know how to think about my plays at that point. So yeah, it's really impressive, right? Those people that grinded through RDU for, especially, he was like 10, 15 or 11 hours before just streaming. I'm like, damn, dude.
I think JJ did that too. I think he did like a 20-hour stream for that or something.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
and for sure. Any thoughts about the changes or anything you would adjust, Shady?
I like the format a lot.
Yeah, I liked it a lot actually. Also, the point system was a bit awkward at the first when you
That's
saw
true.
it because
Yeah.
like minus 50 points for 8 or something.
Yeah.
But it's the same as in ladder. You don't want to get 8th place. You want to avoid that at any cost. So doing that in a tournament too makes sense.
It
And
just
then,
it felt really bad though. Like
yeah,
just
just on top 8. Don't do it. Play the
legitimately
Meccano tank.
it's like due to the point system, like second place was like, oh, I didn't lose MMR. That's second place. You know, like, you know, H-List like, I lied. That was a bad day for me. it felt, and especially some of the like the individual players, right? Like I imagine that it's got to feel super rough if you've lost like 100 and something. You know, like someone has 0 points and someone has like negative 200. It's like, you know, that's
Yeah.
it just feels bad, and people would meme about it, right? Like maybe I would change that, maybe make it less depressing to look at if you're losing horribly, right? Like I've done tournaments itself, right? No, I've had 8 be 0 points, right? I've never had it be negative points, right? You just end your tournament with like negative 50 points. It's like you know, that's gotta feel really bad, right? Fortunately that didn't happen to us, but I just imagine if I played it, I would feel really bad about that.
Yeah, I think this is wanted to like reflect the MMR system with the minus points.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the
That's
plus
definitely
points,
how
so,
it,
like,
it went. Yeah.
yeah, because you started at 1K. You didn't go into minus.
But I mean, if you like 900 is minus, right? Cause
yeah, it's technically minus, but you still have 900 points. It's like nice.
I guess
Just
that's what we're
calculating up
looking at.
front. Like, okay, if someone were to get 8, so how many points do we need at the start to make sure no one loses everything?
Imagine starting if we started at 100, there would be people in the negative. It's just like, just that's gotta hurt.
It's a tournament. It's a competitive environment.
Right.
Sure, I mean, the points, it might look bad when you are losing points for your team rather than not gaining a lot of points. But in the end, you're gonna feel the same way I feel, right? Like if you're in a team game,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
you're bringing home
That's
3
true.
8s,
That's true.
You're not gonna be like, well, 7 points, it's not too bad, right, team? Like you're not gonna feel that way.
That's true. I guess that's just how it goes in these type of tournaments. I'm pretty sure we're all pretty interested in doing more events of these nature, right? It's always fun, always a good time, and it always kind of showcases like the skill expression, also the meta, like the tournament meta, really. Like I've seen some tournaments where like the meta is like all elementals, all beasts, all dragons, right? Stuff like that. And really, like, did you guys have a feeling of what the meta was for this particular tournament? Like, oh, this is what everyone's running here, or stuff like that. Any thoughts on that?
I think it depended on the lobby too. I think
That's
the lobby
true.
that I played was a lot of tempo. A lot of people went for tempo and everything. And then I heard Lee. He said that everyone in his lobby was greeding very hard and trying to go for good comms and going for the top one. And in my lobby, it was just like Meccano tank, try to not die, and then at the end, some weird comp won.
I was in your lobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like the players definitely did affect the meta of the lobbies, especially the initial ones. I definitely like watching some of the other lobby brackets. I was like, damn, you know, I would have never been able to do what they did here, you know, just because it was like different players, different meta, different speeds and stuff like that. I definitely think our lobby was pretty tempo heavy. A lot of beasts and stuff like that I saw, just like being able to take it because, oh, you get an early Mama Bear, the Mama Bear spike is huge and then you just win. So
yeah, there was a lot of Mama Bear comps in our lobby.
yeah, that's me. I was in the lobby, you know, but I did notice that. I also saw a lot of like elementals, I think, in a lot of people's games, just like finding a way to make that scaling work, right? Maybe not in our lobbies, right? I think it was maybe a little too slow in our lobbies, but in some of the other lobbies, I saw a lot of people just like kind of forcing elementals and like making it work and then doing well.
No, I mean, elementals are just very versatile in this meta and also very strong because they have like infinite scaling. You can never stop scaling. It's not like Mama Bear stops scaling at some point.
Yeah, that's true. That's why it's very popular, because you see the potential and you can get it quickly if you get the right piece or you have the right hero. So Yeah. What about you,
Yeah.
Shady? Any thoughts on that?
For me, it was pretty much just elementals and tempo. I don't know if just beasts weren't in a lot of the time. That obviously is also in a fairly small sample size. You may just have the tribe that would be popular banned, but I felt like I was just running jugglers a lot of the time, either Mechano Tank or the demon version, and then the winners were almost always just giant molten rocks with either early dazzling or just Nomi or even Major Domo Master. So it felt like that was the structure of my lobbies. We had these big ass elemental players and then the rest just trying to kill each other, surviving.
It's always pretty cool. Anything else about the tournament that you want to talk about? Anything interesting? You guys.
I think if I could have done something different, it was play on NA more before I played the tournament, because I know it was laggy, but I didn't
realize how
think
laggy
about
it
the
was,
lag
yeah.
that Discord causes too if you're gonna stream the games. Like I had a Golden Hogar game and it was NA, then I had to stream the game on Discord because of my partner, and I didn't think of it. Like I could have just closed the stream, but I didn't think of it, and it was very, very, very laggy. And you couldn't reconnect either, which I
Right.
normally do when I go
Right.
infinite. So
Right.
I just died. I just didn't have time.
I also had a harder game, but I didn't die because of the lag. I just died because I misplayed it. Well, I mean, the opponent probably kills me at the same time, but I felt like if I played it perfectly, I wouldn't have died when I died, and maybe that would have been enough of a window to get over that hump. So I definitely feel you like that. I learned there are some things I'm getting away with, generally, just because the players are easier, and you might want to clean that up, I guess, for more tournaments. Also, just learn how important like a turn can be, or the right decision, like the right time to level, the right time to pick up a tempo unit compared to like a scalar unit. There was a lot of like, oh, if I pick this one item here instead of, or if I skip this item or I pick this one item, the whole game would be different, right? In these type of lobbies where normally like it could like in ladder I could be like, I don't need either, and it's fine. Like you just make it work the turn afterwards. But here you really don't have that window. So there's a lot of like just playing against like stronger opponents, just like, oh yeah, this is cool to see, where in these situations it does matter where normally it doesn't. So that's I thought was cool. Anything else, guys?
I'd say the stuff that transfers to ladder, I don't think that you necessarily do better on ladder by being greedier. I think that you have flaws that get exposed in the tournament lobbies, but I don't think it's like, oh, I'm now going to play ladder mode, which is I'm going to be intentionally greedier. I think that I guess we should define like what being greedy means, and I think that pushing levels, right, it can be considered as greedy, but I think that's correct. It's the way how you push levels. It's the turns where you're going to push the level and hold the card, where you just say, no, that's just unreasonable, but you get away with it. But I don't feel like it's the right play, because I already feel like I'm playing better on ladder after playing in the tournament lobbies where you just knew that you didn't want to pull that shit. You'd be like, okay, no. Like if I'm leveling, I'm also doing everything in my power to be strong so that I'm mitigating damage or still winning the round. And I feel like you also have these moments where you realize leveling here is suicide, and where once again you could maybe get away with it on ladder, but you probably still don't get away with it a fair amount of times. So it is most likely still something that is causing quite a bit of negative MMR, but just because you remember getting away with it enough, you're like, I could level here. So I'd say for me, that's probably the main takeaway from the tournament, where I can use it in my daily grind. It's if it feels like you probably shouldn't do it, you probably shouldn't do it.
Yeah, probably the most difference was if you have a bad turn on ladder, you can sometimes come back. You get a weak guy, you fight the ghost after that, and then you can you are like one turn behind, but you're still as strong as your opponents. But in the tournament, that didn't work. If you played a bad hero, you had one bad turn.
You're dead.
You just had to go full tempo and try to not hit 8th place somehow.
It's true. The bad heroes just like got exposed. I think like if you had a bad hero, like sometimes there's nothing.
I played a Zophon ladder and he felt kind of okay with all the avenge mechanics and stuff like that. You can triple into Buster, but in the tournament, I just lost every fight. It's like playing without hero power and you just die.
Nazoth, that's the one. That's the one with the tutu.
The Death Row
the
guy.
fish.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's not Cthulhu. I was thinking Cthulhu. Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I'm sure Cthulhu would have the same experience though. So.
Yeah.
It's very true. Like the good heroes did really well, right? Like the players here were really good at capitalizing on good heroes, right? Like the Millhouse players, right? The Hooktoes players. Some of them, got unlucky, but like I saw like the good heroes were really just dominant. I think in this tournament. If you had a good hero, good minion types, and you got the right like pieces, you just win, right? Like I just saw like, oh yeah, this guy. Like I could see some of the winners like turn 4, turn 5. Like, oh yeah, this like someone like this one player got Galakron twice in a row. And hero powered a Felbat, like turn 4, turn 5, twice.
Oh, that was goddammit.
I
remember that.
Yeah. And I was just like, well, he won. Then he did. Yeah. Like, it was just like, like, oh my god, you could tell like that early on, like, oh yeah, like he with a trickster on it, 2 tricksters on, well, I guess he won. Like, and it's like there's nothing we could do. Like, you fought him the next time, and he has huge demons, like full setup, like everything works out perfectly for him. It's like, yeah, okay, right. Like it took like I think Dog was like playing like Murloc Scam to counter that. Like that, like that's the only answer. Oh yeah, Murloc Scam. Yeah, otherwise you just get out tempoed by that stupid early power. So. That kind of stuff, right? You really don't see in ladder where like, oh yeah, someone has an early fell, oh yeah, he won. Like it's like super obvious, like the Reno hero powers Mama Bear or like Brand or something where it's like, yeah, that's very clear. But you don't see like, oh yeah, this guy's top 4 guaranteed like turn 5. Where in the tournament I saw that a lot. Like, oh yeah, this guy's already won. Like, I was saying that to myself.
If you see the same stuff on ladder, like there's someone that hit a fell but with double trickster, you don't always say, "Oh, he won."
Yeah, I don't.
Push the advantage. Yeah. He might not play it 100% correct, and then he might not win. So, but in the tournament, like all the players are very good, so they're gonna push the advantage they have, and they're gonna be strong in a few turns, very strong.
Yeah, it was annoying. Honestly, I was like, damn, I'm playing for second already. Yeah, like it feels bad. But it's pretty cool. Also, that's the 1-turn swaps. I saw a couple people do that. That was pretty cool to see. Where it's like, oh, this guy wasn't playing this board before, but then he completely switched into like Murlocs or something like that. But that's because I had Dog in like every single one of my games, and he does that really well. So
yeah, Dog is very good.
Yeah, so it's just like, here he goes again. Like he didn't have a board, and then bam, he has a board. And it's like, okay, well. That was fun, yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting things about that tournament, particularly. Love to see more of it, and really good learning experience, I think, for me and Shady as well. Just like seeing some of the little things that people are doing and how people think the meta is shaping up in this particular patch and all that cool stuff. Can't wait to see that get completely changed when Diablo comes in. So yeah, fun.
Yeah, when is that coming in? Is it like?
On the 2nd, yeah, on the next this Tuesday, so it's a couple of days actually, so that's gonna be pretty
cool. Okay, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be interesting. Also, like my next tournament I think has Diablo in it, so it's like, yeah, I don't know what that's gonna do to the meta. But yeah, I mean, I don't think they could have predicted that's gonna happen. I think that's our overview for the tournament discussion. We still have a little bit more to talk about, right? We have we usually talk about a hero and a minion every week, just discuss it. And this week I wanted to do Hook Test, but Shitty said no. So we asked Ixxdeee what he wanted to play. I mean, what are you guys talking about? And I still have Hook Test. I need to change the screen. Give me a second. I thought I fixed it, but I didn't. Second. Two seconds. Where is it? Actually. Anyways, it's Millhouse. Let's not waste it.
Use your imagination. There we go. Slap a mustache on.
Oh, that's actually weird. Oh, because it's not on the right format. That's right. There it is. There it is. I had it in the wrong format. There we go.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. It still says Hook Test.
It's fine. It's Millhouse.
Yeah. What do you guys think about Millhouse? What's your thoughts on that? I know it's someone's favorite hero here.
Yeah, I just think it's the funnest hero to play. Like, there's so many things you can do with it. Just buy all the cards in the shop and everything. You don't have to set for a direction. You can just, like, if there's a card you're not sure if you should buy or not, you just buy it. It's like 1 gold. It's whatever. And yeah, I mean, sometimes you never find a direction, and then you have to roll, and then it gets frustrating to play. But in this meta, I don't think it happens that much. At least it didn't happen to me. So
it's usually because you're playing Millhouse when the minion types for it are really good, right? Generally, I mean that's what I've been seeing.
yeah,
right?
I mean, elementals have to be in. Otherwise, I really don't like picking Millhouse. But if elementals are in, it's already good enough for me almost. Like, you have Recycling Wave, you have Anomaly, you have Sedimental, and they all help a lot. Even Major Domo is good.
Elementals is really the only viable, and dragons. There's really nothing else besides those two that make any sense. I do agree with you, right? If you have elementals and dragons, then you're pretty good to go. Those are the key compositions that people look for, right, Shady?
I mean, you can even play demons. You could play beasts.
Yeah.
Mechs,
even just having a golden Sauro list, you just buy every battle cry. It's gonna become so big too. I had a lot of games where just
like Weaver Sorrow with a Mal'Ganis. You're just like buy, sell, buy, sell.
I don't really see people going Sorrowless, right? Like that's kind of fringe, I think, in terms of like. I guess people do it for like early tempo, but they don't commit.
It happen organically, right? You just need to open that tier 2 shop, and there's 2 Sorrows. And you're like, oh, okay, I'll just have that on my board. But it's not something you're gonna roll for, obviously, on Millhouse.
Not rolling for anything, That's thing about Millhouse.
If you hit it on your turn 4 on the Millhouse on like 6 gold, you just have a Sorrowless, and you just, I don't know, every death rattle you buy is 1 gold, and it's +2 +4. So that's pretty good. I mean, if you have 2. If you have 1, it's 1, 2, which is still fine.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, makes beasts a little bit more something to think about when you're playing Millhouse. But generally, if you have like elemental pirates, and then it's pretty much ready to go.
So, is there anything specific that you like to do on Millhouse that you think, oh, this is some cool stuff that I do that I don't see a lot of other people do, or just in general, like curves or anything you want to talk about?
I mean, everyone does it. It was like Recycling Wave and then just go Elementals. You don't have to pay any gold for rolls, which is kind of OP on Millhouse. They nerfed it now, and I haven't played Millhouse since they.
It still feels good. It still feels good.
Still feels good.
Yeah.
It also stacks up. So if you can play 2 Elementals, right, and then it's still free, and you can play 2 Recycling Waves too.
It's very easy.
It still feels good. Yeah. I heard about a new curve that a lot of people do is just stay on 1 until 8 gold with Millhouse, and then you just get all the triples in, and then you triple into 4 drops just to assure getting Recycling Wave or the other good 4-drop cards like Nest Machan or Lightspawn or even a Major Domo sometimes. I haven't tried it yet, but a lot of people say it's good, and a lot of people that say it's good are very good at the game, like Ixxdeee and Goddammit and Zorgo. So
I wonder
I
if
want to
that
try it
still
out.
applies after the Wraith nerf, where that is the preferred curve they want to do.
Yeah.
I do like the normal curve on Millhouse. I'm in the same camp where I do want to try the other one. It just always feels like I'm getting the opportunity to tier because I actually like leveling on turn 2 on Millhouse quite a bit if I start with a Sally or a Swabby or really any kind of economy. Because I feel there's so many games of Millhouse where if you just get the reasonable 2-drops on your board, sometimes even spawn or just not having a bunch of tokens or 1-drops really, the amount of times where you're on 40 health forever is pretty impressive. Whereas I had kind of gotten conditioned to playing Millhouse and saying, okay, on 7 gold, I'm going to start taking it. 8 gold, that's where it's really going to hurt. And then 9 gold, we're going to take our triple and get a 6-drop. And since I've, this is also from XUN, by the way. So it's 2 different curves that he promotes. The leveling on 2, I find myself not losing the 7 gold fight and sometimes not even the 8 gold fight, which is amazing on Millhouse if you can just go straight to 5 on 40 health.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I kind of like the curve 2 leveling on 2. It always depends. You kind of have to start with a token, right? Turn 1.
Yeah, you have to start with a token. That's the one thing. But well, you don't have to, but it makes you kind of do because you don't get stronger. Yeah, you don't get stronger if you don't have a token. That's the one caveat, but it does feel pretty good when you can get it to pop off and you just like because it's almost like you're playing Reform and then you have like a full board like a turn earlier, so you're not losing that health, right? Like when Reform gets to level the 4 or 5 and not take damage, that's when Reform really feels good with the triple chop or something like that. So it's kind of the same philosophy with Millhouse, right? You get the triple, you're still relatively healthy, so even if the triple doesn't like immediately give you a power spike, you can like get it online or take the extra turn to scale it up where now you're stronger than everyone else. Pretty nice, yeah.
So you still go for 5 drops or 6 drops with Millhouse, or do you just go for 4 drops now?
I'm a 6-drop on every hero type of person. Shady's gonna disagree, but I still find a way.
I'm definitely a 6-drop gamer as well. I feel like over the last 2 months I've definitely gone more towards that playstyle.
Shady's starting to agree, I love it.
I always ask myself, like, okay, what's it gonna cost me, right? And more often than not, I'm going to go to 5 anyway. So yeah, I'll take, like, if I'm gonna go to 5 anyway, I'll take the 6. The games where I don't take a 6, it's really about, oh, I had a bad start and I'm facing high rollers, and wow, if I get a Kali now, I'm not even going to be able to use it. That's the point where you might say, okay, let's just grab a 5 here and roll on 4. I think tripling into a 4, I think it's fine if you're specifically going for that curve where you're staying on 1, of course, because then if you're holding the whole time for 5s or 6s, your health is not going to support that, I assume. But the taking a 4 on Millhouse's curve, I'm not sure about it. I always feel much better if I can roll on the tier where the useful stuff is, but I get to discover past it, right? So either I go to 5, pull a 6, and then I can roll into the Hog, or I can roll into the Nomi, or same thing with 4, where I can discover the Hog or the Nomi and then roll into the Recycling, roll into the Domo. So that's been that's been my experience, where I almost never want to triple into a 4 on Millhouse if I'm playing the normal curve.
I do want to clarify, first of all, with every hero, it depends on what's in, right? Like if pirates are out, mechs are out, it's a lot harder for me to convince myself to get 6s because I'm like, what am I even gonna get? If I get Kelly, it's not that useful. If I triple into it, I'm gonna die. There's no Eliza scamming. There's no tempo randomly that I can get, like with a Mega Buster, blah, blah, blah. So a lot of times, I say I get a 6, but then like you have to look at what your board state is. Can you really take a 6 here, right? Do you have a Scally on the board? Do you have Max on the board? And also in the tournament where I did win with Millhouse, the one game I got I did take a 5. actually. Probably because I couldn't afford to take a 6. And also at the 5, I mean, I was looking specifically for Nomi, and I did get it. So like I was able to like, oh, this is what I want. It's on 5. I can't really level and take 15 here. So let me get the 5. Oh, I got a Nomi. Okay, I can play the game from here. So you can take 6s, but a lot of times you might be just put in a situation where you're taking a 5. And if you know what you're looking for, it's a lot easier to aim for it and get it, right? Like if you're like, okay, if I get a Nomi, I can win, or if I get like a Mama Bear here, I could win. If I get a Hogger here and a Tony here, I can win. That kind of thing. So you do have to be aware of what you're looking for when you're getting these 5s and 6s and 4s even, right? So sometimes on 4s, like if I get a Frank here or a Nest Matron, I can win, right? So even 4s have that kind of power spike too. So you do have to be aware, and generally, I do say 6.
I like 4s for sure more than 5s, but like if you can get a 6 drop, that's always good, I think, depending on the tribes that are in. But I just started to hate 5 drops. I don't know. They lost me so many games lately. I prefer going for 4s now.
Is Mama Bear in when you're getting these 5s? I just gotta tell you this. Like anytime Mama Bear in, you gotta keep it in mind that hey, I can get a Mama. Maybe not with Milhouse specifically, but anytime Beast are in, I'm like, oh, I can get a Mama and just win the game right here.
But
like,
often it's like the only 5 drop that's good. And
well,
like, then you get Scavenger, Baron, Spore, Lightfang, like Bran even sometimes is bad.
The thing with Beast is Beast give you two hits, because Croc is also pretty powerful if you get it at the right turns, right? So if you have Beast and then another thing that you can get on 5, then you have an avenue to go for a 5 and go there. But generally, if Beast is the only thing and then everything else doesn't really fit your composition or anything you want to do, like you're not playing Galakron or Reno or something like that, then yeah, 4s are probably safer, and there are some 4s that if you get it at the right time are like just as strong or even stronger than 5s.
If you look at the best 5 drop and you say it's Mama Bear, then you can also look at the best 4 drop, which is like Nest Matron or Light Spawn, and then I'd rather have a Light Spawn or Nest Matron than a Mama Bear on my board normally, even if it's one turn earlier, because they just win you the game more often, I think.
I will say that the amount of times where you have a really smooth game where you pull Nest Matron, you're like,
they're so good. Yeah.
Like, what happens? Like, oh, right, I have more money than the other people. That's what's happening.
Yeah, early Nest Matron is broken. With Acolyte on the board, it's so broken. Yeah, I agree. Like, but then again, Frank also with Acolyte broken. Like, so is Acolyte the problem?
Acolyte way too strong.
Oh man,
I mean, it's kind of a strong 1 drop. It is.
It is.
It's silly good. The amount of times where you have Acolyte versus 2 drops in the shop, you're like, I'll take the Acolyte. It's just.
Oh yeah, I think you always just take Acolyte.
I've done that with Micro Mummy and Acolyte. Those are the two.
Right, like Spawn's quite good, and sometimes you just have like, oh well, this Harvest Golem makes sense here because I have a Leaper, yada yada yada. But yeah, there's a really good amount of times where you just go, well, Acolyte's just better. So. And that's probably the point where you should look at your 1 drop and say, is this not a little bit too strong?
How would you change it though? Like, I don't even know, right?
Knowing Blizzard, it's like they turn it into a 2-1 or something like that. It's just like remove a stat point here or there, and then boom, solved. No problem.
I mean, I wouldn't even change it. I think it's fine. It's like a non-tribe minion.
I think it is
very strong. It's the best one. But
yeah. I think it's.
I mean, if you remove it, it's the Puppet who's going to be the best one, and then that's not good because Puppet is a mech. It has a tribe, so the best card should be tribeless, I think.
Yeah, that's
fair. Yeah, it's fair. It's just the I was gonna say a lot of the toxic starts, if you will. Light Spawn 2 Acolytes, Frank 2 Acolytes, Matron 2 Acolytes. It's always the Acolyte that's if you have a Meccano tank, the Frank, if you have Matron, if you have Light Spawn. If you don't have that Reborn Taunt, the chance that you get value from it is a lot lower. But it's the guaranteed, I'm going to get 2 procs no matter what, or, I'm 1 proc no matter what, very likely to get 2 procs. That's the part where the cards become just insane, where you can count on the value. Whereas otherwise, there is this inherent risk built in. Even something like a Tony, it's the Acolyte just such a good way to almost guarantee a Golden Hogger. So
I would still buy the card. Like with frequent efficiency, even if it got nerfed to a 2-1, That's something
Yeah.
to think about right
I
there.
mean, you even
Right?
buy it on tier 4. You buy over tier 4 cards. If you have an
Yeah,
Avenge on board or something,
sometimes.
you just buy
Yeah.
Acolyte. Like,
Yeah.
what are you rolling for? I'm rolling for an Acolyte. I'm rolling for a 1-drop here.
So that kind of tells you that that's a problem. Right? Like I could just take away a health. No, yeah, it's still just buy it the same. Like maybe I'd consider something a little
Just
bit more.
something
But
to think about.
yeah, something to
Food
think
for
about.
thought.
But yeah, pretty good hero. Would you guys say that? Would you guys
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I think
big fan
one of the
this.
best.
guys are in love with?
I think, yeah, I think it's also the hero where if you don't hit, it's very skill testing. Where I think it can be a very streamlined experience, right? You hit the Nomi, you hit the reroll guy. Almost everyone, knows how to manage that. Maybe not optimize it, but they manage it, right? You'll get your first place, you get your big elementals. But I think the games where you're not tripling or you're not finding the reroll guy and still managing to scrape out a top 4 spot, I think that's the really cool thing where you see experienced Millhouse players who recognize that position and say, okay, this is where I just have to, buy some jugs or get a deflecto and buy some clunkers for the deflecto, etc.
Very true. Those are the annoying games where I have to think. Yeah, I agree. Like, big fan of not doing that and just getting the easy games with Millhouse.
Yeah, thinking is always a problem. I agree with that.
That is honestly so true. Like anytime you have to think in the games, that's a problem. You want to put yourself in a position where you don't have to think. That's the best way to play the game. You get to play more games, easier games, at a cleaner time. If you can just eliminate the thinking part of the gameplay, just do good early game tempo, good luck with Bob, good tripling RNG, and then you're like, hey, I know what to do from here. I can do this in my sleep. Then you're having fun. You're having good times. It's the games where you have to think, where you have to put your brain power on, and you're like, oh, what do I do here? What position here? Is this the right buy? Do I want to buy here? Do I not want to buy here? Should I roll 3 times and then buy? Or then da 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 da. Those are the problem games where you're like, damn it, dude. I'm tired afterwards. Remove thinking. Well, don't remove thinking, but put yourself in a position where you don't have to think. Yeah. It's different than removing thinking. You just got to put yourself in a position where the thinking is already streamlined into the experience. Nomi double refresh. Hey, that's the game. That's the way to play the game. Forget it.
Go hoggers, just go fast.
Yeah. 3 hoggers. Yes, that's the way to play. Wouldn't you agree? She's gonna be like, you still have to think of hoggers. I'm like, whatever.
But you can do that on Millhouse a lot, right? With recycling wave, or even just 1 hoggar on Millhouse. It's just you just buy every pirate. Just don't think about it. Just buy them.
That is one of the coolest things. Where normally, if you have 1 hogger, you have to value like, okay, which pirates am I buying? I can't buy every pirate, but with Millhouse, it's so like, ooh, okay, I'm already APMing. Let's go. All right.
Yeah, so Millhouse good hero. Do recommend it. Very good with elementals, pirates. Dragons if you can get it early. Kelly, like dragons, like that's one of the few heroes where 1 Kelly, boards are like not a bait because you can really scale it. But sometimes, a lot of times double Kelly. 1 Kelly is just gonna kill you. So Millhouse you can get away with it sometimes. So yeah, it's pretty nice. The minion we are talked about is Mr. Frank, or Mechano Tank if you are not cool. One of the best, funnest heroes. Funnest minions. Wouldn't you agree, Ixxdeee? Just so fun, very balanced.
I completely disagree. I hate that guy. I think Harbinger was not fun, and this is even worse.
That's hilarious. Shady's like, this is my Harbinger.
Yeah, for me, this guy replaced Harbinger as a card.
I already talked up with Shady about it, but there's no pew pew mechanic in the game that I like. There's like Mechano Tank, Juggler, Cannon. What else is there? They're just all annoying. Like the Pyro Spawn, everything that shoots at you.
I would call Holy Mackerel also a pew pew mechanic. I hate it. Like that. It's so pew pew and like, oh yeah, you hit this one. Oh yeah, you get it. Of divine. You hit this one. Oh,
but
divine.
It doesn't happen that much, right?
It does. It happens too often. Oh god, it happens way too often for it to be
Like,
in the
especially
game.
when you are juggling, it's so frustrating because you just see a bunch of 0 damage, 0 damage, 0 damage, 0 damage, 0 damage because you're just refreshing the shields the whole time.
Yeah, we had a
If
game
you play the
today.
tank, then you deserve that, right?
God. All right. Well, I think the difference with Prester, because that's the pyro spawn you're talking about, where I don't think you can lump them in with the other ones because with Prester it's not random. So you can just say, okay, my divine.
This
Shield
isn't
Dragon.
random either.
Yes and no. There is some agency, right, where you can. Okay, so if you have a big ass divine shield dragon going into a perfect Amalgadon, knowing that your divine shield dragon is going to clean kill the poison Amalgadon, I feel like that's a little bit too much. Also knowing that, okay, I'm gonna Nadina my board, and then they either have a taunted fish or they have taunted deflectos, or they just have an untaunted fish or untaunted deflectos, and just knowing that you're going to get an insane amount of value, that to me makes the card a lot more toxic than something like Juggler or Frank, because you, like, if that goes wrong, you lose, say, a, what is it, like a 20 damage deflecto to one dragon with the Prester behind it. But to lose that same 20 damage deflecto, the opponent first needs to shoot with the Frank or the Juggler and then get the trade in before the reset happens. Whereas with the Prester, there's no leeway, right? It's like if it hits, it's dead instantly. With the other ones, at least, there's a lot of shit that needs to go wrong, right? It needs to snipe the shield right before it attacks, or right before the reset hits.
All right. So what I'm
I do
hearing,
agree that Prester is like way worse.
yeah,
I do agree with that.
they're both wrong, but Prester is worse. But they're both
More
wrong,
wrong,
you know. So I don't care. They're both wrong, like regardless of how wrong one is. If one is more wrong than the other, that doesn't matter to me. They're both wrong.
There definitely is an argument to be made that it's frustrating that the Frank and the Juggler, like, they do introduce more randomness, and Frank is especially rough where, 2 acolytes in the early game and it just feels like, oh wow, I'm going to take 15 just because my board is going to get murdered early on, because
So-
you don't need all demons. I think that's the huge limiting factor on Juggler. Of course, you need Ixxdeee Imps, you need Imprisoner, you need Matron. Frank doesn't care, right? You have a menace that can be so terrifying. The opponent has a Frank and a menace on the board, and you're like, oh Lord, I'm dead. It's so many pings.
Yeah, you could really nerf this card to the ground, but let's not.
I mean, you can easily nerf this card, right? Instead of 6 damage. 6 damage is so much. Just do like 4 or something. I don't know, like just little bombs shooting at you.
You could also make it like Mecha Venge, like, oh yes.
No, the thing is with 6 damage, it's just one shots almost everything on the board in the early game.
Yeah, for sure. 6 is so much.
Sure. Yeah, I was very surprised to see this dodge the nerf bat. But then again, like,
it's because
exists and mackerel exists, right? Where it's like, oh, okay, so if those things are fine, because in my opinion, like, mackerel getting the reset the whole time and you just lose to it, while it might cost you less MMR, I will acknowledge that, right? You probably lose more MMR to people with an early tank. I think it is more frustrating to watch someone just keep resetting the fish and you're just like, oh god, what is this?
Also, normally cards like Mechanotang and Prester are normally tribalist minions, right? Like Juggler and stuff. And the fact that you can buff up a Pyro Spawn or Prester,
I know, right? That's my problem
that's
too.
annoying. Like, otherwise, you could just zap it sometimes. There would be counterplay, and it would be a weak minion too on the board. But
we talked about this
too much.
Yeah, we completely talked about this last podcast too. It's just funny to like hear it again. You're like, oh yeah, this is
the Prester being a dragon helps the Promo Drake. It benefits from Nadina, benefits from Caligus.
You get it from your Sarah randomly, so they always have it.
The thing is, like, even then, you already have Ghoul. What do you have this other mechanic for, right? Like, Ghoul is fine. We've done fine.
I mean, Ghoul doesn't do anything against mechs anymore.
Yeah, you see, we talked about this.
Deal, right? This is why we talk about fish, because I feel like this is the excuse that Prester is a card. People say, oh, well, but Ghoul doesn't do anything against mechs. And I agree, because you have 2 macros to deflect those. You hit the reset, you killed 1 shield. Congratulations. Nice Ghoul. Remove fish as well. I feel like fish and Prester are kind of tied together, where fish is used as an excuse, but oh, look at that, we need something to counter the mech comps, right? So let's give one very specific tribe the absolute counter, and the rest can still just look frustrated at the macros. But that doesn't matter. You could have played dragons, right? It just, yeah. Anyways, we're talking about Frank. Let's not deviate
No.
too much.
Legitimately, the next topic is like, let's talk about Prester again. So let's talk about Prester. So you know,
you guys thought you were getting new content. It's just us ranting about the same card.
Legitimately, we can actually move to the next topic because it's gonna include Frank anyways, you know. So yeah, let's Frank, annoying card, really strong though, very good tempo. Abuse it while it's here and very strong. Like just you get a Frank early game and you have an acolyte, just level, you know, go up.
That is almost just free level 6.
Yeah, it's so strong. Like you're not taking max and you're probably winning, which is wrong, right? You buy a 4 and you're guaranteed to win up to 6, like if they don't have a tank themselves. Like anytime I'm playing tank, I only lose to someone with another tank. Like that's like
snipes your Frank. Right? You're sitting like, oh my god.
I had this in the tournament too. I had a tank and I tripled into Kangos. I was like super strong. I was like, okay, I'm gonna beat everyone. There's a tank with a bunch of acolytes.
Was that me again?
That wasn't me again. Every opponent had 2 tanks. I couldn't do anything.
Oh man, yeah. I think that was. I do remember also. I think Dog beat me with double tank as well, and I also had a tank.
You and then Dog.
And then Dog, yeah. Oh man.
And I know Dog was at 31 or something, and he killed me. And then there was no damage cap anymore, and then G31'd him.
Yeah, that's the tournament life right there. But yeah, Frank OP. But the next topic is about meta 4 drops, you know, just like, hey, let's talk about Prester. I actually couldn't I couldn't cleanly put Prester in or Lightspawn. I just made it work. But I think there's a lot of like really good 4s that can dictate how you play the rest of the game out if you get them early or triple into them and stuff like that. And just like really are impactful and really like some people say the meta is about 4s and 6, right? And I kind of understand it just because the 4s are very impactful, like compared to like 3s and 2s and 1s, like where you can 4s are where you can start being like, okay, I'm gonna change my game plan because I hit this, or I'm gonna change my game plan because I've tripled into this. Now I can do this, or blah blah blah. So I do think there are a lot of like really interesting and impactful 4s that really kind of dictate how a lot of people play the game and how a lot of people change what they're gonna do because they hit it early or something. Yeah, and Prester. Prester is not like meta in the sense of like, oh, I got a Prester, let me change my game plan. It's more of like, I know Prester's in the game. I'm not worried about this. I'm not worried about this. I know I can just do this with the Prester. Or it's like, Prester's in the game. I can't do this with my comp. Oh, this comp, this doesn't work here. This doesn't work because I know the Sarah has a Prester here. I have to change it up. So it is meta, but it's not meta in the fact that you change your game plan because you find it. It's in the game, so you have to change what you are allowed to do, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you don't.
I saw there was no light spawn, but then I saw it's the king actually of the 4 drops.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is like just I don't know. The light spawn is just very very strong. If you triple into it early, it's just even better than Nesmeraton, I think. It just as soon as you triple an elemental that got buffed to, I don't know, 15-15, you have like a 40-40 on your board. And you can get that so early. And then you can level and just find a Nomi and scale it even more. And even if you don't level and don't go for Nomi, you can win with 40-40 elementals. It's completely possible.
I think it's interesting because me and Shady, we don't really use Lightspawn as much as we probably should, which I think is interesting. So it's kind of cool to hear like your experience and your thoughts on like Lightspawn and how strong you think it is. Because I do think we're not using it as much as we should, but we're maybe not finding the right times or not like confident enough to like fully commit into like, oh yeah, let's just go full.
I think it's because we play different where we play on tier 6.
Yeah, so, if you don't triple into it, it's not that good. Like leveling on, I don't know, 9 gold and then finding on 9 gold is a bit late. But if a lot of heroes, you can get a 4 drop on turn 5, and if you get if you get the light spawn there, it's just very, very strong. Like the next turn, your elemental's already like 10/10s or something if you have double acolytes, and it just scales so fast, and you don't lose any fights. You don't even have to do anything. You just buy one elemental and then you level.
It's my homework, Pepper
and you level to 6. Okay.
I mean, I don't level to 6.
Oh.
Sometimes it depends on my board.
That's us right there.
Get this guy out of here. He's not a tier 6 gamer.
It's hilarious. You buy one, you level, and I'm like, oh yeah, you just level to 6. You're like, no, you don't do that. I'm like, oh wait, we're doing this wrong.
Why would you level to 6 though? You're playing elementals.
Yeah, and elementals on 6 is amazing. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I guess we just play differently. It's funny that
for the way how we usually play, it's like I just want to be on 6 and then do like APM Murloc with the chef, or even play with Rags, play with Callies, play with Eliza, just buy some busters. So usually the way how we play is just pick up anything along the way that gets you there, right? And then you just make your comp on tier 6. That's obviously not every game. Sometimes you just roll a really good tier 4 comp. Sometimes you get Mama Bear, you do some tier 5 stuff. But I'd say the majority of games, the goal is to just get the 6 and then make your comp there.
Yeah,
it feels like that has such a high return.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. Like Lightspawn doesn't really do that super well, right? Because you do have to commit to the elementals, right? And sometimes you want to stay a little bit to like maybe roll by one and stuff like that. And you don't need a level, so that's probably why we don't play Lightspawn as much. But I do admit that Lightspawn is pretty powerful, and especially in the tournament, right? I was seeing a lot of the like players just have like double Lightspawn, and then like the rest of their board's insane. I'm just like, damn.
Normally when you see big elemental boards, it was because of Lightspawn most of the time. Sometimes it's
in the tournament, yeah, for sure. Like I think in like ranked play, like a lot of people just go Nomis and stuff like that. Like that's where they come from. But like I saw a lot of like Lightspawn into Nomi, and then it's just like, yeah, okay, well, this is too, or they have a golden Lightspawn early or something like that.
Yeah, there's no mistake about it. It's definitely strong. It's just something that's underexplored by
for us, yeah. Do wanted to mention that, but I do think Grease Spot's another one of those cards, right, where you get early Grease, you have Divine Shields, right? You can really build your comp around that. Ground Shaker as well, right? If you get like Gem Slayer, Ground Shaker, you can build your comp around that. Tank as well. Tank, you can like. There are some heroes that, like Greybow, right? You just have a tank and like that's your comp. Like I have a tank and I'm Greybow. Yeah,
that's Harbinger in that regard.
Promo Drake with Terragosa, right? Everyone knows how strong that can be, right? Especially with the Ysera package coming in, right? You really see how strong just a Terragosa and Promo Drakes are. Like, okay, that won the lobby. Oh, he just had 2 3s and 2 4s, and that was good enough to win. I was like, yeah. Like, I don't know. That feels annoying to me, but like I do it if I get Ysera as well. And then Nest Matron, right? If you get that super early triple into it, right, you can really just like hyper level, hyper scale, and just get
that's where you go to 6, I think, with Nest Matron. Yeah, that's the difference between the Matron and the Lightspawn, where Nest Matron is just like a level to 6 card.
So do you pay much attention to Coolborn Mech Lobby Ixxdeee? Does that mean anything to you? Do you do a lot of tier 4 stuff like that, or do you generally not really go in on that?
I noticed it the last days, the Gem Splitter Ground Shaker thing that you said, and
wasn't feeling that strong. Yeah. I heard you.
If you don't have a Grease Spot early that also scales the HP on your minions, like you're gonna have a strong board with a lot of attack, but you just lose to all the other comps. You lose to Mama Bear, you lose to other mech comps, you lose to tank. You basically only win against Murlocs, which people don't really play with mechs in, and elementals if they don't already high rolls that much. So the comp feels strong, but I don't know, it just doesn't win for me.
Just a lot of count. I think that it's like I've started to just play it with Deflecto most of the time, where I think if you get your double Deflecto, it's fine because you still get so much value from resets from menaces, and once you get a gem transfer from your shaker to Deflecto, it's bigger, or you can even get a fish or so. But I would agree that it feels like you do get a lot of the free losses where you're like, oh, that's Ratback Mama Bear. Oh, that's a Mega Buster. I can't beat tokens.
Yeah, it's not like maybe it was being forced too much, and now it's like you're aware it exists, and then you have to have the right setup where it's like, okay, I have Deflecto and the Gem Slitter and and the Ground Shaker or a Grease Spot, something like that, and then like it's very clear, okay, I can just commit here and it'll work out, right? Like, but if you're taking damage to set it up, then you're probably not in a good spot. Like,
something you want to go out of your way for anymore.
That,
but it's cool to just be like, oh, like it falls into my lap. Okay, I'll play it, no problem, right? But yeah, like at the start of the season, I was the same. I was just, I was forcing this, and it was working. But then people will get more adept at the meta.
they get
and
better, yeah.
What worked before is not working anymore.
Isn't that annoying when people just get better and then you're like, I have to change things. Yeah, I know, right?
The better they get, the more thinking you have to do.
Just the worst.
The worst.
I do definitely agree, and it's pretty cool to see meta in forest, because I feel like before the minion rework, this wasn't really the case, right? Like where it was like, oh, there's so many options on 4. Like I could just do this or this or this or this. And now it's like, yeah, if I get double tank, okay. If I get double promo Taragosa, okay. If I get double matron, actually, they probably don't even want double grease spot, okay. Double triple ground shaker, okay. Double light spot, okay. Like I could do that, right? Like before it was like, well, there's like, you can do this one thing on 4. Like, here's a arm comp.
It was just max. If there wasn't max, there was nothing to do on 4, right? You just nothing.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool to see that there's more options that open up due to all of the little pieces. Also, there's Prester. Prester sucks. I don't like this card at all. But it is a 4-drop, so it's part of the meta. It's just I don't think it deserves the placement here, but it definitely does influence how people play out the game because it's that important. So yeah, it is a card that does things that would consider it in the classification of meta, but I don't want to. But yeah, it's very, very cool discussion, right? Like normally the meta is like 6 drops or 5 drops, but I feel like it's less 5s, right? Like 5s is like it's the mama bear drop, like that's
5s is just mama bear. The rest left.
Yeah, like
it's because it's like you don't really, unless you're Reno, of course, right? You don't really even want to triple into a hogger. Like Patches, sure, Reno, sure, but I feel like in a lot of other
Galacron,
cases,
sure. But
like Gallywix, right? Yeah, sure. Yeah. So there are certain heroes in Millhouse, right? Of course. But if you do not have like that innate ability to immediately use it for an economy purpose, it just feels like, okay, I'm just gonna die, right? Because there's gonna be some asshole in the tank who's gonna just one shot my hogger, and it's not gonna do anything. So yeah, it's rough for 5. So Ixxdeee brought that up earlier, where you got killed so often by going for 5s. Was that just the Millhouse observation, or is that just in general?
Oh no, it was just generally. I made myself a rule. It's I either go for 4s now or 6s. I'm gonna avoid 5s. Like, every time I'm like, oh, a Nomi would be nice here or Mama Bear, but then I think about all the misses I can have, and there's just so much that I'm going for a 4 here.
Does that mean you do less tier 1 curving, or does that just mean you just go for 4s every time you do a tier 1 curve?
No, I mean the warrior curve or the tier 1 curve, I don't think it's that good anymore because 5 drops would like worse now. Yeah. I prefer just doing the Jeeve curve, and then if I triple, I normally go for a 4 drop on turn 5 if that's possible with most heroes. That is, if you get pairs early. So
yeah, so
having like a light spawn Nash Maiden early on turn 5 is just amazing.
That makes sense. So the most vanilla example would be like a Zephyrus, where you level button and you just like 4 drops. There you go. Yeah, sure, that makes sense. I think that is the meta for sure. And the cool thing is, indeed, like Collins mentioned earlier,
I get 5
direction on 4. Yeah, Collins is just because this is what I have to put up with Ixxdeee. Every time Beast turns like happen, you get a Mama Bear. Mama Bear.
If you hit it, it's good. But if you don't, then you cry.
Yeah, that's why we don't cry on this stream.
We just hit the Mama Bear every time. It's the worst part.
But you get it one turn later, right? Isn't a Nest Mage in one turn earlier just way better? Or like a light spawn?
It depends on what your board looks like, right? If you
sure.
have an avenge-friendly board, absolutely. I'm super down. And I think we also take that into account when we look at the board. You're like, ooh, yeah, you're just you start looking at the light spawn is in, the tank is in, the matron is in. Because even though we don't play light spawn, we still count it as an avenge minion, and we just use it as an excuse to go for Nest Matron. Just like, yeah. We could get a Frank or something. It's good. So,
yeah, we get a lot of force. Like we meme, but we do get a lot of force. We just also get some fives sometimes.
Mainly sixes though.
Mainly sixes, yeah. Mainly sixes, but sometimes
I still like playing a lot of Rafam, Maiev, right? Those archetypal take a 6-drop on turn 7 kind of heroes. Very, very clean. Very
I like those. Those are fun.
But you need these kind of heroes to go for 6, right? Otherwise it doesn't work. You cannot really go for
it. You'll be surprised.
We just hard forced it.
But Mukla is good for going for 6-drops. Mukla has a lot of early game, actually.
Win, right? Yeah, that's true.
And Deathwing 6-drops. Yeah, we do that.
But that's also early game spike.
I mean, I guess so, yeah.
I think the heroes that lack the early game spike, you make your own early game spike with the 4-drop. I guess that is what.
Yeah, that's true.
Either you have that built-in tempo, or you make that own tempo by the 4-drop.
Yeah, you get the 6s later if you have those non-early tempo heroes.
That's my playstyle right now. I just try to go for 2 triples. The first triple is going to be a 4-drop, and then the second is going to be a 6.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's very
that's
fair.
Probably the main takeaway for listeners for today. All right, get in that rhythm. First, take a 4 so that you're not dead by the time you want to take a 6. But then Colin's gonna say, "Well,
you can just take the 6
2 6s."
That's what I do. Legitimately, a lot of my games are just double 6 jumps, and I'm like, pretty good. Oh man, like playing Shutterwalk, right? Just get 3 6s. Just get 3 6s.
With Shadowwalk, you can do that. Sure.
Yeah.
All right, Collins. Let's go to our next topic or wrap it up. I think we've been on 4-drops quite long.
Fair enough. That is, I believe, our last topic. It's been pretty long podcast, mostly due to the technical difficulties. That's not my fault. But do I have another slide? No, I don't. I have ending statements. I do want to mention that I have a tournament coming up on the 7th, the China Global Invitationals. I was fortunately invited. I just realized today was on the 7th. Then Shady reminded me, so it's like next Sunday, right? I think that's when it starts. But yeah, if you guys like the Twitch Rivals tournament, this will be somewhat similar. It doesn't. I looked at the format for Battlegrounds, and it's so weird. It doesn't feel like a team event, right? Because my teammates are playing in the same lobby as me, and then we have our names blanked out, so it's like not really team events. So that's a little bit weird. So it's more like just solos, but our points count together, I guess, which is interesting. But they have to do that because they want to facilitate the constructed and mercenary 1v1 game style, so they have to do it like that. So a little bit weird we get the short end of the stick in terms of good formats, but yeah, it's still a team event. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, a lot of fun things. But other than that, I do want to thank everyone for participating. Thank you, Ixxdeee, for coming on. Much appreciated, by the way.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me and having me. It was fun talking to you guys. And good luck in your tournament.
I'm glad.
Wait, you are an A, right?
Yeah, I am an A. So.
Yeah. Good luck too.
Damn, dude, I see the bias coming in. And I believe Fast Eddie wanted to say that we gotta follow. So make sure everyone follows Ixxdeee. If you is it just Twitch, or do you wanna shout out your Twitter and all that stuff like that?
I have a YouTube too where I upload videos every day.
Yes.
For a few weeks now. So
get the YouTube link in the chat as well. Make sure to follow, and hope you guys enjoy it. My channel, Shady's channel. Basically the same channel at this point, but you'll still see us from time to time. So yeah, all that other stuff. that shall be it for us today. Thank you for the feedbacks. If you want to send us feedback, you can send it at hsbgpodcast@gmail.com. And hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hope you guys enjoyed the tournament discussions. It's always fun playing tournaments, talk about tournaments afterwards, because I think there's always a lot to learn in those events, just like player play styles or like other meta tournaments, and like just seeing what people think are strong right now in the meta stuff like that.
Yeah,
Cool.
and I mean, even if you didn't perform, I think it's still fun to talk. Like, man, I low rolled so hard. Like, look at these people. Like, they're just great heroes, etc.
Yeah.
It's because I that's the thing where I feel like if you had a really bad day on ladder, that's for me tougher than a really bad tournament, because you can at least look at the tournament and say, well, all these people are really good players. But sometimes on ladder, you're like, yeah, I really messed up. That's my own fault. I lost because I just played really poorly.
Yeah, that. I am not the same.
Yeah, me neither. It's the opposite for me.
Yeah,
Really?
dude, I
You
am
can
not.
just play next turn again, next day again.
Yeah, I don't give it. It's the
I
tournament.
guess maybe it's just that logic. Obviously, in the moment, it feels bad, but I feel like the day after, I would feel worse about just having a really bad ladder day, just because I know that the opponents in the tournament were really, really good.
Well,
So I feel like I go in with that.
from
mindset.
experience, I've had really bad tournaments. Like it might not even be Hearthstone,
Right.
and I've had really bad ladder days, and it's true. Like the tournament ones, I can be still sad the day afterwards. Like, I'm still sad. Like 2 days afterwards, the tournament done, I'm like, where ladder is like, I had a bad day. Like maybe the night I'm like, cry myself to sleep or whatever. But the day afterwards, like whatever, I'll move on.
Yep.
Yeah. Where the tournament really stinks. So I know from experience that it's not the same for me. Yeah, so yeah.
I guess part of it is because there aren't enough tournaments. If there were tournaments every week,
Right.
it would also feel a little bit different, right? You'd say,
Yeah,
all
for
right,
sure.
next weekend we go again. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff, guys. Thanks for coming on, Ixxdeee.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Glad you enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. It's always fun talking with really competent players. So I have to deal with Shady, and sometimes he just says the same thing over and over. But now really get some person I can agree with. Like, yeah, Frank's a problem. Let's get out of this.
He's like, oh, let's get another Frank. He's like, yeah, Frank is unethical. Unethical.
For sure. But yeah, hope you enjoy the rest of your stream, and I'll see everybody later.